Hi again, everyone, and Lauren Ruhl's here. I don't know how many of you went to the sports psychology forum, but that was really interesting, and I learned I was doing a couple things wrong, so thank you so much as a parent. So Nell and Frances, you have this podcast, you did, which is very impressive, by the way. What sort of motivated you to start the podcast, and tell us a little bit about what you talk about on this podcast?
So Frances and I became friends when we were 10. We bonded over music. That was kind of how we became best friends. So we had always I think it was Frances's idea. We just had kind of talked about having a radio show. And then when we got to boarding school together, last year, it was actually a thing that we could do. And it's pretty much our favorite thing.
Yeah, it always been something that we wanted to do, but we didn't really have the resources to do it. So then finally, we've known each other for a really long time. We live in Brooklyn, 2 blocks away from each other. And then finally ending up at boarding school together, actually having the resources to do it was just perfect, and there was no way that we weren't going to start a radio show. So we play music and we talk about it. Music was one of the things that brought us close together because we just have really similar music tastes.
When you say we talk about the music, what do? Do you dissect the lyrics? Do you talk about the kind of genre the music is? Tell us a little bit. Give us a preview, because we're all going to listen to the podcast after, by the way, but I want to get a preview. It's a lot of pressure, sorry.
So what I think is really fun is that we have a notebook of ideas, and so every episode we do, we pick a theme. So and sometimes we have guests on. So an example is what's a good example? We've done guilty pleasures, we've done best movie soundtracks, we've done songs by artists from New Jersey, which was a really fun one, and then you kind of just a lot of it's really random, but it's and a lot of the stuff Fran plays I haven't heard before, so that's another thing that I like about it. But it's mostly music. It's music and then 1 minute of talking and then another song.
And we'll talk about the background of the artist, our favorite artists. But I think one of my favorite things about it, like you said, is hearing music that you love that I've never heard before. And it's just a lot of fun.
So when you guys listen to music before you play squash?
Definitely.
And so what kind of effect does it have on you? Is it a calming effect? Is it a motivating effect?
For me, I can't go into a match without listening to music before because I get so nervous. And for individual tournaments at least, listening to music totally extracts me from the situation. I'll listen to music to either hype me up or calm me down. So depending on how I'm feeling, I know what I need in the moment. And it just prepares me so much to go into the match.
Yeah, so one of my teammates, Nitsa, had this thing that she did where it's she has 5 songs that she plays every time that she warms up, and then for each song she does a different thing. And I used to do that when I showered, so a song for shampoo, and then a song for conditioning.
Is that an everything shower?
Yes, an everything shower, and it's a really good method. So I started doing it when I warmed up, and it's really good to have a routine that is the exact same every time. It's really, I find it grounding, especially because I don't know, I think most people struggle with pretty bad anxiety right before you go on. So it's good to be sort of centered.
So Lauren, I just want to ask you, because you were talking about having rituals, and I don't want to call them habits, we'll call them rituals, but just calming things that you do, either during a match or a game or before a test, that sort of centers you. How is music beneficial in those routines?
I think what's amazing about music is that there's obviously so many different genres, right? So there's so many different types of moods that we can be in too. So recognizing first, what mood are you in? And having, I think for me, even in basketball, I used to have a warm-up, pre-game playlist that I was on when I was on the bus. And then post-game was a different playlist, right? Different vibes, different feels. But I also think that it can be super important for athletes to understand what type of energy you like to be before a game or a match. Like you said, sometimes I like to be grounded, some like to be feeling very chill, calm. Others like to be really amped up, right? So really recognizing and understanding what type of music helps you get there can also just be a nice little routine, ritual kind of thing to help you feel like you can get in the mindset and the mental place that you want to be before you perform.
Do you guys have anything to add to that? When you have your guests on your podcast, have you ever had an athlete, or is it more their musical guests?
We don't talk so much about like music and sports on our podcast, but like one thing that I want to add is that for team squash, I think that like the music that you listen to before a match is different than like for individual tournaments. So on our Lawrenceville team, we made it to the finals this year at nationals, and music on our team is like super important for shifting the mood. So we woke up that morning, we were like so tired, we got no sleep, and it was just super low energy. But once we have like shared songs that we all love and we all know the lyrics to, and then we play at practice every day. And we started playing those songs, and like we all got super into it. And like by the time we were walking to the Spectre Center, we were all just so ready to go, so excited, all like screaming the lyrics while we were running to the chorus, walking together.
Yeah, and then the other thing I would add is that it's like when you all have the same songs that you like listen to and like everyone knows by the end of the season, it makes you really like it makes it like cohesive. So it's like instead of like 9 like individual players, it's like one team. And like for me at least, and like I think all of our other teammates, it's like it helps with the anxiety because you feel like everyone has got each other because we're all like connected over the music.
Definitely music does connect people. The one challenge maybe I want to address as athletes is how many of you, when you go to a match or you're traveling somewhere, if you're on a school bus or you're on a bus with your teammates, is that ever a situation you're in? Yeah. So finding music that you can all agree on that inspires you all in a way can be difficult, right? Because we all have different tastes, we all enjoy different kinds of music, and we all utilize it for different reasons. So what would be, Lauren, and then the girls, you can answer this too, but what would your recommendation be for a team who's on a bus and you don't necessarily want everybody with their earphones on because you want to feel that camaraderie, but is it something you talk about beforehand? Is it something that, you make a playlist with a lot of variety so that everybody finds their spot? Or
I think, even from my past, I think, throughout the season, it kind of unfolds also like what songs kind of just fit that season. I think each season is totally different, and I still have like certain songs for myself that I even remember and like brings me right back to a specific year, just due to the way that the team bonded over that. And I think, over even like with TikTok and all those things, now it's dance challenges that also teams are doing together and they're filming together, right? So it builds even more of that type of bond. That I think it really depends, like when it comes to, I guess it's just the energy. Sometimes it really does depend, and some girls will open up and actually say more of what they're wanting, and others, I think then, like you said, you might hear a new song that you didn't even know about, right? So I think it builds so much more connection, and research actually shows that the reason why we love music is because it actually triggers the part in our brain that is love. And that is why we connect so deeply with music, which I think can help connect and build cohesion everywhere.
I think that it can be really vulnerable to share your music. Like I personally get nervous like going on walks with people that I don't really know that well. So I think it's important that when you're hearing someone's music for the first time that you're receptive and open and like excited to hear it and engaging.
Yeah, I think that like my music is like a really big part of me, so it's just like, I don't know, like when you're sharing your songs, like you're sharing part of yourself, and that's like, it's difficult if people like don't receive it well, so I think it's important to like just make sure that everyone is included.
I think that's a really good point, and I'll compare it to when my kids were young. I'm talking like pre-K, kindergarten, and the teachers would always tell them during lunch period, you should never yuck someone else's yum, okay? Which is basically respect what that person is eating at lunch It may taste wonderful to them and not to you. It may have special meaning. It may be a recipe that their grandmother, handed down. And to insult somebody's food choice, right, can be insulting to who they are as a person. And I feel like that could be similar to music. We all come from different backgrounds, and we all grow up listening to different kinds of music and feel sort of a connection with different kinds of artists. So to pass something off just as, oh, I don't like that kind of music, or I don't like that artist, I think you have to be careful of the words you choose, because we should all be more open to learning about different kinds of music and food and practices and rituals. I don't know if that resonates with you at all. Yeah. What have some of the responses been to the podcast, or even you just saying that, right? Like saying to your friends or your teammates, I'm going to introduce you to this new artist, just like bear with me, or this kind of music, and just give it a shot.
Well, I don't know. What I like about the podcast is like sometimes like girls who we live with or like people around will be like I've been listening to this song because I heard it on your podcast, which is like a really good feeling. And just like having songs like that the team plays that like one of us like introduced them to is like, I don't know. It's really fun.
Yeah, like a lot of the songs on our team playlist I didn't know going into the season, but now I like love them. They're on my playlist before my matches. And I think it's such a great feeling to share music with someone and then have them receive it really well and like put it on their playlist and get into it.
So Lauren, and then I want to open it up for any questions or comments. From a sports perspective, we talk a lot about what we're doing before the match or before the game or before a test. Sometimes your anxiety carries through long after the match or the game is over. Can music be used as a tool to help bring yourself down, whether you won or lost, you played great or played poorly or wanted to improve in an area? Like, how can we think about music as a tool post-competition?
Well, just like Norella was saying too, where you would sing like a song, right? But at the end of the day, what that's doing, it's helping distract you, not focus on the worst case scenario or the things that just happened. So music is a great tool, whether it's prior or pre or post, to help you kind of just focus on the music, focus on the feels that those songs bring you, rather than what just happened in that performance. So if you can utilize and figure out the specific songs that help you relax, help you feel calm, prior or post could be super helpful. I actually have an athlete that she's a swimmer, but she actually sings a song as she's racing. And for her, it's just to make sure that she doesn't have those negative thoughts that are going through her head of who's coming up, who's catching me, or who am I about to be. It can just help you kind of stay there.
That's actually a good point too. In between points, if you were playing squash, like if there was ever, I'm only relating this to tennis because I don't know squash, but a coach once told me, if you're in between points or somebody's sort of delaying the match, right, either count your strings or sing a song or do something to keep yourself focused and not letting your mind wander. So even in the middle of competition, it's a good idea, right, to have that favorite song to fall back on. Is that something that you guys do? Yeah. Do you guys have any questions or any comments? Because I can come up, even though these shoes are really uncomfortable, I'm willing to climb up the stairs and give you the microphone. All right, hold on one second. Can I meet you halfway?
What type of music do y'all listen to?
You guys go. You guys have the podcast.
Okay, there's a lot. We listen to everything. I think our team anthem is Mona Lisa by Lil Wayne, which is it's a whole story. And anytime someone doesn't know the whole, because it's a story, and anytime someone doesn't know it, I'm like, oh my god, and then I have to sit them down and tell them everything. And now everyone is familiar with it. And then on our show, it's total I'll play country and Franny will hate it, and then I don't know, she plays a bunch of like random stuff I couldn't even like name the genre of.
What?
Beyonce is country.
That's right. That's right.
That's really true. I was just talking about how like I don't understand why people are hating on Beyonce for being country now, and it doesn't make sense.
Next month, Taylor Swift is hip hop.
All right, any other questions, or I'm gonna make my way over to, okay? Zoe?
What's like the song that like gets y'all hyped every single time? Like you could have the worst day ever, but y'all play this song and it's literally like complete best day ever.
Mona Lisa. Or
Wait, I'm thinking, I really like Eminem, and like there's this song that's like in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish at all. I take French, but it's called like La Mama de la Mama, and people probably know it, and it's like, it makes me like, I can't explain how it makes me feel.
It's actually interesting you said that. Yesterday, I was actually having a conversation, like what would be your walkout song? You know, like if you think about the walkout song, I think that's a very one. I have one, it's called My Power by like Beyonce and like a ton of women. And every single time, like for me, that is what I put on if I'm like trying to PR a back squat or something. Like I'm about to just crush it. That would definitely be mine.
Okay, I'm gonna hand this.
Is there like a movie or TV show soundtrack that you really love?
Okay, we did an episode about this on our radio show. For me, it would be Lost in Translation. I love it. If you guys have seen the movie, it's so good. If not, watch it. But the soundtrack is so good. We talked about that on our show.
Another one is Dirty Dancing, which, yeah, we love. We will watch like the Hungry Eyes montage like once a month just because. And also, Almost Famous is like, it's a great movie and like a great soundtrack.
Coach Carter, which is a little bit ago, but that one's, yeah, that's always gets me.
Anyone else have a question? Okay, is your voice loud? Okay, go for it.
So, like, you listen to any musicals?
Oh my God, you don't understand. I just made a playlist called Disney and also Broadway because I've been listening to like a lot of like In the Heights and Hamilton and Beetlejuice and like Hairspray and like everything basically. Heather? Yeah, I do like a few songs from Heather's.
Yeah, Hamilton. I just saw Hades Town also. That was so good in the musical.